you doing, guys? Kenny here, and it's about 20 degrees Celsius today. Pretty nice day, and I've gotten onto a little errand, but this time picked myself up a folding camping chair, one of those compact chairs you could take apart, and it's not overly expensive. I'm here at the Canadian Tire. Yeah, just wanted to try something a little bit comfy if I'm going to spend some time hanging out at some spots, and we'll take you for a ride and give it a test. But there's a couple things I want to try and cover today. I just had a conversation with an elderly couple, and they're admiring the bike. They were parked up right here next to me. They just left, and they're talking about the bike. They're asking me, it was brand new, and they weren't sure because it was, you know, obviously a kind of a vintagey looking ride. Asked me how I liked it, and the husband goes, "Don't be like my son, taking out riding in the winter," and basically don't be an idiot, which, you know, I try really hard not to. But that's kind of one of the things I want to talk to you guys about, because and I'll be straight up with you. If you're a parent and you ride a motorcycle, this might be worth watching. If you're not a parent, this does not apply to you at all. And I guess the question is really like, I don't know, like this is probably a question for those of you who are who've ridden motorcycles perhaps before having children, or parents that like myself, I started riding a motorcycle after having kids, and I guess there is no right or wrong answer here, but it is really about how do you navigate that margin of safety, I guess, anxiety, when it comes to riding a motorcycle as a parent, especially with those, especially if you've got young kids, right? And I did this knowingly after having children of my own, that I wanted to explore motorcycling. And obviously I'm not like a huge speed demon or anything like that, and I try to make things as safe as possible. I try to look at the statistics to try to give myself, you know, any kind of justification to get on a motorcycle. And you know, I realized that, and I think the thing that did it for me was that I dove into research on how motorcycling can be safe if you mitigate a lot of the danger, such as, you know, wearing protective gear, riding during the daylight hours, not at night, not speeding, not drinking, not doing drugs or mind-altering substances. And that's all well and good, but, you know, I still always get this feeling that when I'm getting on a motorcycle and getting out, man, I feel like a sailor going out to sea. Every time. It's like, I don't know if anything could go bad, anything go wrong, I guess, if you're on a motorcycle. I gotta close some of these vents, they're getting a little loud in here. And I just don't know, right? So how do you navigate or deal with that type of anxiety when it comes to getting on your bike every time, riding your bike? I really don't know. I tried these things, and I got looking at the statistics, and looking at the dangers involved and whether or not motorcycling is really safe, and I do my best to try to minimize some of the danger. And, you know, having cycled for most of my life, that danger is inherently, being on two wheels, the dangers on two wheels, I feel like in my time spent riding wheels, I really knocked down that kind of level of danger and my comfort. I'm just much comfortable on two wheels, and I can anticipate. I've lived this life of being on two wheels, anticipating things, eyes behind the back of your head. And not to say that I'm any good as a motorcyclist. I'm really just starting out. But that anxiety, every time I leave, still exists. And, I don't think about that as much on a bicycle. I never, get anxious about getting on a bike and going out for a ride. But on a motorcycle, yeah, not gonna lie. It's, it's inherently dangerous, and I'm not gonna be the guy who's like, gonna go on these epic rides. I don't think I'm quite there yet. Maybe one day. I don't have the time as a parent of two small kids, and my wife and I both spend equal time, taking a look after our kids. Look, it's like I got 2 weeks before the kids are finished school. These are my golden weeks where I still have the day to go out and enjoy riding my bike, doing all the things, and it's been great. Like, the bugs aren't out. It's been relatively cool, which is great, because I generally, I don't know how you guys in the States do this, like, in the summer, because, man, it gets hot, and I'm not a hot, count me out, man. Count me out on a motorcycle when it's hot. I'd rather be, like, my sandals, my tank top, riding my bicycle by the lake in the hot summer. But yeah, I don't know how people navigate that. There's also, like, what I've learned and what I've realized is that you gotta have life insurance, man, if you are a motorcyclist and you are out there on two wheels and you've got a family at home. It's just a responsible thing to do. And I don't know, it's also hard for me to justify buying like a bigger motorcycle because it does nothing for, my family lifestyle. I like a little bike where I'm comfortable right now and I can go out on these little stints. It's relatively easy to maintain. And I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, and I was like, I can't justify riding two motorcycles when I got like two small kids at home. Like, that's not, it doesn't feel right to be spending that kind of money on a fancier bike, a bike that is going to be a little more fussy to maintain. I try to do as much DIY myself when it comes to working on these bikes, and I try to be my best to be safe on a motorcycle. And this isn't the sole hobby that's dangerous, I suppose. I also kayak and paddle, and I don't push myself nearly as much when it comes to paddling. And there's that respect for the water. Like, I'm the guy who wears the life jacket all the time and do all the things that is required. I practice my safety recoveries on the kayak, and you do these things to be on top of it and be safe. And if you don't, then I do question whether or not I should continue doing these things, because that danger, it can mount up on you and be something that you neglect, and then it comes and bites you in the ass. So, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I am pretty comfortable on my day-to-day routines as a motorcyclist, living my life out here in the smaller towns, and I question whether or not this is a worthwhile hobby if I lived in a city where I cannot get to places like this. I don't know where I would be going to ride my motorcycle. And also, like, there's just a lot going on when it comes to dealing with that level of anxiety. Like, I don't know and this is, I guess, a broad question, I guess, for you guys. The question I really want to ask is this like a common thing? If you transition from being a motorcyclist to having a family, how did you deal with the fact that you're going to have a baby or a child and still ride motorcycles? And if you are riding a motorcycle after having a family, how did you wrap your head around with starting that journey? I'd be curious to know, and I'd be curious to hear about comments on that. We got to get into this park, but I'm looking to try out my new chair. Got to show my pass. Give me a sec. Thank you. You too. Okay, where do we want to go today? Let's go to the island. Yeah, so, you know, there's the, I hear of this a lot about people developing the kind of anxiety when it comes to riding motorcycles and starting out. And it's real, like, I'm not gonna lie, but like having family on top of it, it's just another layer to navigate, and I'm curious to what your thoughts are. I'm going to try and riff off a few things that I think I've done proactively, and it really came out to just selecting even the bike that I have, like something that's not going to be super high powered, isn't going to get me into a ton of trouble, and I like just plodding around and going and exploring on a small scale. I am what else is going on? I am going out to the Paris Rally out here in Burford, Ontario. So if there's any of you guys going out to the Paris Rally, let me know. I think I'm gonna go in on a Saturday, and we're gonna go check out some vintage bikes. I think the theme this year is two-stroke motorcycles, which I know nothing about. I know very little, to be honest, about vintage motorcycles, other than my dad rode one when he was younger, a Honda, like a 450, and I really I loved it. I loved that motorcycle. Been on the back, I think, a few times. So old vintage rides have always been something I'm very fond of, and you know, other than also being on two wheels. And yeah, I think this bike just suits me better as a motorcyclist, you know, someone with kids. And it's also just a very chill ride. Like I can go to a lot of places like this, explore, and you know, nature is being out in the parks, the forests. It's just a place where like people are out here with their dogs, their family, and I'm not revving the tits off of this thing going by them, and it doesn't give other people that kind of anxiety, you know. At the same time, it's not a loud, verbally hog of a bike that people are intimidated by, and I just really want to kind of go along my way and not be a annoying guy, not to be that annoying guy. And I think I'm gonna go find a place to sit down, set up a chair, well, set up this new chair, and give it a try, make some coffee. I brought out a book to read. I'm trying to get into this habit of like writing and carrying my book around with me more often, and because I noticed that like a lot of people will, because they're either bored or they just don't want to interact with, you know, people out there in the world, which is fine. We all got things on our mind. But like a lot of people just instinctively pull out their phone, right? They just don't want to be bothered, and they want to be in their own headspace, and they'll pull out their phone. And I'm trying to really just carry my books So I am not the guy who's poking around on the phone, and I don't have a lot of options. I'm just gonna like force myself to read a page here and there. So I'm trying to get to this habit of like reading a book. And believe me, I'm not saying this to be like a snob. I don't do it enough of it at home. There's enough going on at home for me with family life that I just don't have time to read a book. So whenever I'm out at a place like this and I've got some time to sit back, relax, soak up some me time, I like to have those books with me. So that's one of the habits I'm trying to do. Yeah, so I'm gonna ride out to the vintage motorcycle rally, the Paris rally, or formerly Paris rally. It's a Canadian vintage motorcycle group, if you don't know, and you can search for their rallies. And the big one is this Saturday in Burford, Ontario. I think that's what it's called. I'm not entirely sure. I mapped out my ride. Something I also do, speaking of safety, and I'm purposely avoiding a lot of like major cities, kind of going around, taking the country route, staying off the highways, all that jazz. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself a coffee here if I can find a spot, set up my chair, test it out. I've been meaning to do another video of what my setup is when it comes to doing these vlogs. And if you know me, if you watch a little bit about my channel, I am not the guy who wants to make cinematic stuff. I don't try to make things fancy. I do try to balance out. My focus, it really is like, I want to make content, but I also want to have an experience and enjoy my time. This is the little time I have to myself, and I like to make work. And because, you know, because I also do photography, like I do find making video work a little bit more time consuming, because with photography you can be a little bit more of a flaneur, and you can put in a lot less effort. Have your camera with you. If you feel like you are in the mood to take photos, you know, it takes 5 seconds of your time, right? Whereas like a video, it's quite the production. There's a lot to worry about, such as sound, framing, content. So I like to make that all that efficient as possible and effortless. And I want to go through what I've sort of got, I guess, as a kit for now. And you know, this is something that's tried and tested. I'm not, you know, making stuff up about this stuff, and this is sort of a kit that I've come to put together that is sort of working for me. So I kind of want to talk about that. So just got to find a place to chill, and I'm trying to find a good spot here. What do I got? What do we got here? We got a bench over here. Maybe I'll come check this out. Give it a whirl. I'm going to try out my new seat. Oh man. So that's a little bit different. I talking to my DJI mini mic, but I've also got music blasted in my ears, and got some Iron Maiden playing. I do feel like Iron Maiden is one of the greatest bands of all time, and I don't know if you want to argue about this, but they fly their own airliner, okay? They got their own airliner, for goddamn sakes. I don't think they get enough credit, but I don't think they're the band that kind of looks for that kind of credit. Anyways, if you are curious about my top 10, as much as I love Iron Maiden as a band, I only love like 10 of their songs. And I'm very picky. But if you would like to hear that playlist, I'll try and link it somewhere. In my opinion, the best of Iron Maiden are these 10 songs. So if you're curious about it, check it out. Here's my skid plate, or kickstand plate, which I always try to keep accessible. I have been trying to make a habit of using these as much as I can, because, yeah, not a lot of fun to drop your bike, especially with gear in it. So, gonna make a coffee. So I got my coffee setup going here, and I kind of want to go over my kit in a little bit, but first things first, a little bit of coffee. I didn't bring a mug. I didn't bring a mug. Okay. Huh. Something to think about. You know, hook me up a mug next time. Okay, so I kind of want to go over my kit as of, like June of 2026, what my kit kind of consists of when it comes to doing the kind of filming that I've been doing. And I'm filming all of this currently on a DJI Action 4 camera with a DJI mic mini. I've also got an additional secondary DJI mic mini, a receiver for the phone, so this allows me to shoot content right to my phone if I just want to use my phone for recording and get good audio. And this bag here consists of both my remote mics and receiver. I've also got a lavalier. It's more traditional. The rest are kind of USB record, USB cords, audio cords, and I find that I started out with a GoPro. This is a Hero 12. I find the interface kind of clunky. So to be honest with you, after getting the Action 4 Pro, if I had a choice of two cameras, I would probably just get two Action 4 Pros and call it a day. However, the GoPro Hero 12 does have some advantages, is in that I can get the media mod kit and plug a traditional lavalier mic. So if I'm shooting on the go, run and gun really quick, I can just plug a lav in there, carry this camera, and go ahead and shoot. So I like having this combination of the Action 4 and the Hero 12. The Action 4 is a little bit more reserved for main camera shooting, mounting onto my helmet, mounting onto my bike. I'm not the biggest fan of mounting a camera on my helmet. So a lot of times I do this on the handlebar, and this is specifically for the Action 4 Pro because I can run a lavalier mic that's wireless, a lav mic. The mic mini, that's wireless. The GoPro Hero gets reserved, and it gets reserved for B-roll stuff and just secondary camera recording, which I find works really well. It's got a little bit more durability it's got the durability with this little cladded plastic media mod kit. They both run 4 or 5 hours of recording time, so no issues with the recording time. And I try to keep it as minimal. I've got some extra tools here. Screwdriver, a little hex Allen key set, great for the bike, great for small stuff.
and my knife, little bits and bobs for mounting things. But this is sort of my minimal kit, and what you just saw, the picture I posted, is the Action 4 camera, and I've got a battery pack that runs to it. So it can run and record for quite some time. I don't carry extra batteries for the cameras, because if one camera battery runs out, I simply switch to the other, or I kind of try and minimize that by plugging a battery to that ahead of time. So this is sort of, and this, no, obviously not including my Pixel 9 Pro phone, which I can use for off-the-cuff shooting. So this is sort of my super portable do-it-all kit. And this is not something I would have put together or imagined for the type of situation, the type of shooting I'm doing. But it's a tried and tested, I'm still testing, but it seems to give a very good coverage of all the things I need a camera to do, while maintaining a very small, compact size. Yeah, so this is what's been working for me. You know, I'm curious about the 360 cameras, but I don't know how much they offer, and I don't know how much I would enjoy the editing on the 360 camera. But there's a couple things I do carry on the bike itself. I do carry like a little tiny mini tripod with a phone mount adapter. So that's something I do carry. I don't carry a chest mount harness, because I just find most of the time I'm either wearing a vest or I'm wearing a backpack, and the chest mount just gets a little too complicated around that area. Yeah, so that's sort of my basic little setup for doing all my recordings. And my philosophy for recording is that I challenge myself to go in different situations and create the work without putting a lot of thought into it, putting a lot of work into it. It seems to be working for me so far. I really like the editing process. So half the time I'm really just getting footage, and sometimes I don't even use it. Sometimes I just use it for B-rolls much later on, or I'll edit ahead of time, and then just find like I don't use it all that much. Like the B-rolls. The B-rolls don't get used much, and I try to record and cover whatever I'm doing primarily, and minimize on B-rolls. And some stuff might be interesting, some maybe not. But my philosophy with creating this kind of work is that it makes me happy to go out there and record this kind of content. It's not too staged, it's not too hokey. I'm not trying to follow like a pre-made template. I'm not trying to like script everything out ahead of time. And this seems to be working for me, because I can run and gun with a GoPro, with a wire lav, or I can be a little more strategic in where I want to place wireless microphones and shoot that way. So hopefully that helps. Hope this is of interest. I'm going to finish making my coffee, finish drinking my coffee. Cheers.